Welcome into Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast presented by BetMGM. Brendan Glasheen joined by Sean Zerillo and Charlie DiSturco on this Sunday evening. That is our record time, getting you set for Monday Best Bets. Monday, May 20th. You can hear Best Bets episodes first thing, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Friday mornings during the regular season. So subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, and also find us on the Action Network YouTube page for the video version. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We've been promising contest winners for leaving ratings and reviews. We've got two more to hand out. Nickley76 and Hockey Lump. All lumped in one word, Hockey Lump. Congratulations. Email podcast@actionnetwork.com. You can claim your prize. You get a free subscription, 1-year subscription to Action Pro, or some swag, which I'm not positive what the swag is. So email the podcast email and they'll take care of you. So if you haven't done that yet, leave a 5-star rating or review. We'll still keep doing some giveaways here as the baseball season really hits the thick of it as we move towards Memorial Day. If you haven't heard, like we mentioned at the top, we're doing these records night before. So we've actually got Padres and Braves going on as we record as the Sunday slate wraps. So we look ahead to Monday. In the meantime, 12-game slate, got a couple afternoon games. Padres Braves are playing due to a makeup game by the rain out Saturday. And it's also Victoria Day in Canada. That is why the Blue Jays are playing at 3:07 tomorrow afternoon. Okay, there's the housekeeping. Sean Zerillo, what are we eyeing for a best bet on Monday, May 20th?
So I played Rays and Red Sox last Wednesday in Boston between Tanner Houck and Taj Bradley. It might have been last Thursday, but it was in my opening pitch write-up for last week. And I projected that matchup at about plus 115 for Tampa Bay on the road. I bet them at plus 128, closed plus 120. So moving from park to park, home park, away park to home park, I would adjust the Rays based on home field alone from plus 115 to minus 115, accounting for bullpen usage, etc. I make them closer to minus 122 in this matchup. So I would bet Tampa Bay here at minus 112 or better. And I think it's a little odd just to see them close at plus 120 in that first matchup and then open essentially at plus 100, even money at home in the same exact pitching matchup, and presumably the same lineups or very similar lineups as well. And Tanner Houck has been great this season. He's made modifications like the entire Red Sox pitching staff, overhauling their arsenal. His stuff plus is up. His command is up. What I do think is interesting, though, about his profile, even though the indicators have improved, the strike indicators, the stuff plus, as I said, his strikeout rate actually hasn't increased. It's his command that has gotten better. His called strike rate is up. His zone rate is up, but he's not actually doing anything to increase whiffs or to increase chases or to increase lack of contact or to decrease contact in the zone. It's just purely an approach difference. Yes, there's different pitches being used, but in terms of metrics that would lead to strikeouts in the future, predicted strikeouts, etc., nothing is really different for Houck. He's just showing better command because he's throwing the ball in the zone more. So I would expect at some point opposing hitters do get a little bit more aggressive with him. And as a result, I do think there is some drop-off capable within his profile just because the strikeouts haven't increased necessarily. On the other hand, Taj Bradley really pops off for stuff plus numbers. Huge differential between his first two starts this season. He's at like a 120 stuff plus in his first start, 84 or 94 in his second start. So combined, it's at 104, but a big differential between those two starts. A little odd. But overall, the full package, he was pitching better in AAA prior to his call-up this year and is a guy who scouts love for the stuff that he has in his arsenal. So I'm a little bit higher on Taj Bradley probably than the overall betting market. And while I have upgraded Houck, I just do think there are some concerns given the fact that the strikeouts haven't come with all of the other additions or improvements that he's made. So Tampa Bay here, as I said, bet the same matchup last week at plus 128 on the road, betting them to minus 112 at home. And there's nothing for me in terms of a first five in this matchup or a total. So just Rays full game money line.
Okay, very good. Yes, the Rays took 3 out of 4 from the Red Sox going back to early last week in Boston. They go to Tampa to start up tomorrow. Charlie, what's going on? What do you got for a best bet?
Yeah, how you doing? Heading out to the LA Arizona game. I know Sean's on the under, but I am taking the first 5 under. Just eliminating the bullpens, eliminating just based on usage and whatnot. Just focusing in on Slade, Ciccone, and Yamamoto. Slade Ciccone, I dove into him a little bit more after I gave out. I discussed him against the Reds last time I was on the podcast, and the Reds ended up winning. His first time through the order, he's nearly unhittable. Has a 1 hit and 43 at bats, 0.02 average to be exact. And the second time through the order / third is when they start to clobber him. You look at the underlying metrics, a guy due for positive regression, xERA right around 3. He's limited hard hits just about 35% of the time right now, which is in the top quarter percent or 25% of all pitchers. So just a guy that limits contact, makes it weak, puts it in play, and the Arizona defense has been able to kind of mitigate damage at times. But for him this time forward over the last couple of starts, he's been hit hard, giving up a few home runs, but I think there's some positive regression coming for him, especially against the Dodgers offense that kind of has stumbled a bit over the last couple of weeks. I guess kind of stumbled. They're not top 5 in every metric. They're outside the top 10 in WRC plus over that span. And this is just a great matchup for Yamamoto. We saw him throw 6 scoreless against Arizona earlier this season. Just 5 hits allowed on the road. Now he returns home. His metrics are right around expected at 3x FIP, a 3.5 xERA. So, he's above average pitcher. In Arizona, we're getting them in their negative split here, 26th in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. So first 5 under 4.5 is a play for me. Just taking out the bullpens and everything in general, like the Dodgers to roll here, but focusing in on the under here.
We've talked about Yamamoto at length on this podcast about his fastball has been electric here early part of the year, but we're still kind of wondering what it's going to be like here as we get in the summer, right? So,
yeah.
But you like the signs right now with Yamamoto.
Yeah, he's been doing well. I was on his strikeouts against San Francisco the last time out, and he went over. I laddered it. It didn't end up coming to fruition, but I think everything's there for him to be a shutdown pitcher, and I think he's looked a lot better than when he first came up and was hit a little bit harder. So yeah, buying him continually.
Okay, let's go to Fade the Public. We're going to look at Yankees Mariners in the Bronx. Marcus Stroman on the mound for New York facing Logan Gilbert. 84% of the bets, 99% of the cash on the Yankees over the M's. Yankees on the money line, minus 135. Mariners short road underdog at plus 114. Totals at 8. Zerillo with the people here on New York, or is there another way to go about this?
I'm leaning towards betting a Mariners team total over, or maybe just the game over in general. I don't necessarily want to have too much against Logan Gilbert, considering he's pitching like one of the best pitchers in the American League. But Marcus Stroman showing some major red flags this season, so I'm probably going to find a way to bet against Stroman, whether it's fading the strikeout prop or the outs recorded prop, or maybe betting over on earned runs. But a 4.75 expected ERA for Stroman this season, 8.1% strikeout minus walk rate. That is a career low. Also showing a career low. Fastball velocity, 90.3 miles an hour. He's at 91.6 last year. He's at 92.5 for his career. And then also stuff plus, 94 stuff plus, 94 location plus. He was at 101 and 100 respectively last season. So major red flags across the board in Marcus Stroman's profile. They've been there all season. He's been getting a lot of weak contact with that cutter. But that said, the fastball, the four-seamer should still not be that low relative to underlying career metrics, his career averages, and the fall off in the stuff plus numbers is pretty dramatic. So expected ERA says he should regress at some point, or at least that he's given up much more hard contact to this point than his actual ERA indicates. And I would sell on Marcus Stroman right now and find ways to bet against him.
All right. How about you, Charlie? Any thoughts here on Stroman's lack of pizzazz on the stuff, but also he's got Logan Gilbert going up against him?
Yeah, I lean toward the Mariners here. Kind of, one of those things that I don't really know if I want to fade Logan Gilbert, but also this Yankees offense right now. A series against Chicago White Sox can really make your offense look much better. But, Sean kind of hit it on the head with Marcus Stroman. There's nothing there that I like. Bottom 20% of all pitchers in walk rate, expected ERA nearly a run and a half higher than actual. He gets out of damage by generating ground balls and weak contact at timely moments, but just tend to think that he's a pitcher that I will never really get behind. And definitely, Logan Gilbert is pitching like a Cy Young contender right now, and the numbers back it up. So lean toward the Mariners. This Mariners offense gives me the heebie-jeebies sometimes. I feel like half the time they're striking out every other at bat. I'm still waiting for J-Rod to make this turnaround that's been coming for almost 2 months now. He's still hasn't fully figured it out. So a bit nervous here in this matchup about the Mariners offense, but like Sean said, Mark Stroman is so bad that I'm not going to be looking toward the Yankees. I'm going to look to fade him.
I've really downgraded Stroman, and I still make the Yankees about -135. So my model is basically saying like Yankees are pass, Yankees first 5 are pass, and no, it's not happening. I'm not betting it even officially. So I'm not betting on Stroman at this point. I'll find a way to fade his props, or to bet props against him contributing significantly in tomorrow's game. I'm out on Marcus Stroman for now.
10 walks in 17 innings across his 3 starts in the month of May. Marcus Stroman. At least 5 innings pitched, 5 1/3 innings pitched in those starts. I wonder what the outs prop might be. Like 15.5, 16.
Yeah, it's probably over 50. It's usually over 15.5 for him. So,
okay. Obviously, again, that speaks to the point of us recording the night before now. That's a new thing we've been doing for a couple weeks. That's a market we don't have right now.
Yeah, I'll see if anything's up, but doubtful.
You think it's probably 17.5, I think.
Yeah, you might be right. Probably a little more.
Just based on he doesn't generate strikeouts, puts the ball in play, usually pitches deep. But
I meant at least 15.5, but yeah, probably closer to 16.5 or 16.
Yeah. I don't know if the Mariners are hit or miss sometimes. So
it's still just not. I probably don't even want to get involved with the outs prop though, because that's also game flow dependent. I think it's just like the under on a strikeout prop, maybe, or over on walks and under on strikeouts. Anything to do with strikeout and walks for him, I think, is the way to go, probably.
Okay. Seattle is striking out 30% of the time in the last week. They strike out so much, but I agree with you. Looking to fade Stroman in that one would probably be the way to go, just based on Stroman doesn't strike out and over power hitters, and you'd expect Seattle. This was a team that didn't strike out, overly too much, bringing guys that in the offseason that were supposed to not strike out that much, and somehow they still just negatively regressed in the early going.
Okay, keep an eye out. That's the whole point there. Marcus Stroman and the Yankees. Let's look at underdogs for Monday. 12 games to choose from. Any juicy, interesting underdogs that catch your eyes, Earlo?
Arizona +205 down to about +190. I made this line closer to +180. So there's enough value there if it's over +200, certainly to fire a play. And Charlie already talked about Slade Ciccone. I like Slade Ciccone. League average pitch modeling metrics, 100 stuff plus, 104 location plus. He's a good slider. He's a good curveball, but has a below average fastball. And he hasn't gotten the strikeouts yet to this point in his major league career. He's shown good command. He has roughly a slightly below average strikeout minus walk rate. So he's just on the cusp of being league average with his actual results, but sort of aligns with the pitch modeling metrics. Should be a tick better. This year, a little bit odd. So he has a .99 whip, a 200 batting average on balls in play. So that whip should go up, but he has a 59% strain rate. So the ERA should go down. He's a 5.27 ERA and expected ERA closer to 3. He's just gotten a bit unlucky, despite the fact that he has a 200 batting average on balls in play. Usually those things, you can't say that in the same sentence. Typically, a guy's been unlucky but has a 200 batting average on balls in play, but he really has been. And Yamamoto, we've discussed it numerous times with the fastball location, how it keeps getting ambushed, and he hasn't really fixed it yet. But I think he's a very solid pitcher, and obviously Shota has sort of shown him up in terms of Rookie of the Year and NL Cy Young, and has pitched the way that most people expected Yamamoto to pitch, but their strikeout minus walk rates are very similar. Shota has benefited a lot from the wind in the starts he's pitching. He's been phenomenal too. But, the expected ERA, Shota is about a 3 and Yamamoto is about a 3.3. Like, there's not a huge gap in the underlying indicators between these two. So love Yamamoto, have not downgraded him at all, but I do think Slade Ciccone is a little underrated. So I like the Diamondbacks to about +190, I believe, and then the under 8.5 as well. Charlie went with the first 5 under. I'm going to go full game under 8.5. Under 8 down to -102, projected this closer to 7.75. So 8.5, great. Would not pay a juiced 8.5, would rather take plus money on the 8.
Shota at even money to win NL Rookie of the Year, and Yamamoto at just over plus 400, filing in next. Jared Jones, Paul Skeens, your next two, which should be a fascinating. If Skeens
Or pitchers.
Wow. Yeah, great
pitchers. Yeah. No more Corbin Carroll this year.
I think Devin Williams was the last pitcher to win the award, and it just doesn't. Pitchers just don't do it. There's always one position player who's like close and wins above replacement. So the fact that the 4 top contenders are all pitchers, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Charlie, how about you, underdog? And I think you're going to turn to a series that is happening as we speak. But I was just looking a pretty brutal scheduled turnaround here for Padres Braves with this Sunday night draw, and then they got a doubleheader tomorrow.
Yeah, the good news is that when we're recording this, it's 9-0 Padres. So the bullpens and high leverage arms are not going to be used. So you can at least factor that into the account that basically everyone will be available for tomorrow's games. And so I'm targeting game 1, and that's Dylan Cease against Reynaldo Lopez. Going with the Padres to roll here. I'm in all likelihood going to zigzag back with Sale in the Braves at some way, whether it's a run line or whatnot. Dylan Cease is one of the top pitchers in baseball, as we've seen over the past few years, and this year has been no different. He's in the top 10% of all pitchers, expected ERA, expected batting average. We're seeing all the strikeout numbers. He's putting up double-digit Ks like almost every single start. Ultimate downfall has been, the high fly ball rate and an occasional barrel. But you look at all his metrics, the 2.65 expected ERA, 2.46 actual. So there's not much negative regression coming. And if you expect that maybe the home runs to hit him a little bit more, 3.2 xFIP, taking away that less home run rate. But then you look at his strand rate, and Sean talked about Ciccone and how he had a really bad strand rate. Dylan Cease is at 65% this season. So you'd imagine an elite pitcher that can get out of jams with high strikeouts should have a better, strand rate altogether. So I'm expecting him to positively regress in that department, end up finding more success in general. The Braves offense is, we've seen and discussed, I think, at times throughout the last couple of weeks that the offense has not looked, unbelievable. Austin Riley's obviously still out. The team's swinging and missing a lot more. The back end of that lineup has been, very easily overpowered. And it's a day game. It's the 12-20 start, like you said. Dylan Cease, for what it's worth, a 1.52 ERA, 4 day starts this season. Last year was about a run and a half better in the day than at night as well. So maybe he sleeps well and can pitch early off of a good night's sleep or something like that. Then Reynaldo Lopez, a 1.34 ERA. He's been incredible for the Braves this year in his first kind of moving from the bullpen to the starting role. But his expected metrics, 3.71 ERA, 3.81 xFIP, 90% strand rate, has given up less than a half a home run per 9. All of these numbers, I think, are going to ultimately negatively regress for him. I think it's going to come at some point, and I think the Padres are definitely a team that could do the damage. They're top 5 in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. So the Padres, a lot of lefties, I think, should be able to get to Lopez here. I think this is another game that the Padres have the advantage in, should be able to overpower them with Cease on the mound. Going to take their plus money right now. I'd bet them all the way down to about plus 100, minus 105. I think they should be, slight favorites here. And then I'll ultimately zigzag probably with Chris Sale because he is absolutely incredible.
Very good. We'll wrap with one more bet from Sean. Charlie's going to tease 777s. He's got a player prop for us. Zerillo, staying with this game, game 1 between the Braves and Padres tomorrow.
Yeah, Dylan Cease has been awesome, as Charlie discussed, and I've put it in the past 2 opening pitch write-ups that I've had on days where Dylan Cease pitch, but it's one of my favorite graphs I found this season. It's just a hockey stick, and it's Dylan Cease's slider usage and slider velocity over the past 4 or 5 seasons. Every year it's getting harder, and every year he's throwing the pitch more, and he's had starts this season where he's thrown it as his most commonly selected pitch. He's thrown it over 50% of the time, or 50% of the time in some of his starts this season, so could not be more confident in his best pitch, throwing it more often than he ever has, and arguably getting the best results of his career. But his fastball velocity is also up this year. It was down last year with the White Sox. He had that great year 2 years ago, finished 3rd, I believe, in Cy Young voting. Down year last year, people didn't really know what to make of him. His trade value fell off a little bit, and now he looks like he's vintage Dylan Cease once again. That fastball velocity back up. His strikeout rate, career best, 32.4%. called strike plus whiff rate, stuff plus ratings, all career best levels for Dylan Cease. And if I was just to start everybody's stats over, if you put everybody's stats at 0 and you handicap the Cy Young based on their stats from May 20th to the rest of the season, I think Dylan Cease might be the favorite. I think I might favor him to have the best stats in the National League among NL pitchers the rest of the way. That's how good he looks. So I like the under here. I made this total 7.7. The added benefit you get with it being a doubleheader, with the fact that this is game 1 of the doubleheader, they're playing a night game tonight, going to have that game at 12:20. And if anybody sits tomorrow, it's going to be that day game after the night game. It's not going to be the evening game. So may get 1 or 2 starters, potentially Austin Riley, whoever. One of these potential offensive sluggers sits out in this game and lowers that total just a little bit more. So like the under tonight, may like it even more by lineups tomorrow.
Excellent. Good point there on the potential resting of players in a really, again, tough draw. So, I mean, Sunday night baseball, the schedule's the schedule. I guess you really can't. It is what it is. But 12.
Yeah, it was rain. They got rained out yesterday. So they had to book a doubleheader tomorrow. It wasn't intentional. It just happened. Yeah.
Sure. I just mean the fact they're playing at 7 tonight, right? As opposed to a day game, right?
They could have moved it up, yeah. But I guess at that point, fans already have tickets. I don't know what the rules, NFL can flex their schedule. I don't know what the rules are for baseball flexing their schedule with tickets. I don't know how that works.
All right, Charlie, take us home. We got a player prop to tease 777s.
Yeah, so looking toward the Mets here, and they've had an illness go through the locker room, which has led to multiple people sitting out the last day or so, and one of those guys is Brandon Nimmo. He didn't play on Sunday, but if he does play, I like him to do some damage here against Ben Lively. Lively, has been great this season in a new role with the Guardians instead of out in Cincinnati, but there's still some underlying metrics that I'm worried about. He's the bottom 2% of all pitchers in ground ball rate. He gets barreled nearly 10% of the time, which is the worst in his career, even with his actual ERA of 3 being the best output. But you look at expected metrics, near over a run higher in both xERA and xFIP, giving up a lot more fly balls. The hard hit rates back up from last season when he had improved. I just think that overall the Mets offense should find success here. The guy that I think is chief among them is Nimmo. He's one of the least lucky hitters in all of baseball. Has a 217 average and a 414 slugging. You look at his expected metrics. He has a 297 expected batting average and a 556 expected slugging. He's barreling the ball at a 14% rate, which is up nearly 4 or 5% from last season. Really putting in great at bats, just getting unlucky on where the ball's going. He's barreling it a lot. I think that this is one of those matchups that I think he can jump all over. We've seen it over the last couple of weeks. He's incredible with his plate approach, and obviously walks a lot, but we'll get a good couple of pitches to hit here, like the lefty on righty matchup. And I think if he plays, I'm going to look toward his total bases and home run.
We discussed at the end of last year, Brandon Nimmo was selling out for power a little bit more. The strikeout rate had gone up, but so had the power metrics. And it seems like he's continuing that now. He's playing corner outfield, and he's decided, hey, I got to start hitting like a corner outfielder. So yeah, buy on Brandon Nimmo's upside, his power potential going forward. I think he's going to crack 30 homers at some point.
Yeah.
Midday tomorrow, Charlie, midday the 20th for the article.
Yeah, I'll have it filed by noon, and so I'd expect it up around 1 or 2 o'clock. Yeah,
very good. More plays in there in terms of player props for Monday.
Yes, 2 more.
Okay, excellent. That is going to do it for our Monday edition of Payoff Pitch, Monday, May 20th. For Charlie DiSturco, Sean Zerillo, Brendan Glasheen. Be sure to find us Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays for more Payoff Pitch episodes throughout the baseball season. Again, please leave your 5-star ratings and reviews. Also, check out the Action Network Discord channel. Good opportunity for you to go sweat some baseball bets with some of our contributors in the Discord channel. Link to said channel is in the episode description. For Sean Zerillo, Charlie DiSturco, Brendan Glasheen, thanks for being here with us, everybody. We will see you again. We'll be back here tomorrow night, getting set for Tuesday's slate, the 21st. Thanks for listening to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast presented by BetMGM.